It looks like 2025 may be the year when marijuana is finally rescheduled as a Schedule III controlled substance. This is Christina Williams with Just Criminal Law.
And David Mann, legal storytelling specialist. Okay, so I think we've all heard about Schedule 1, 2, 3, but I know I'm a little unclear as to what that even means.
Sure, so a Schedule I controlled substance is a drug, say, similar to heroin, cocaine. There is no medicinal purpose for the controlled substance. It's considered a dangerous drug. So those are your Schedule I controlled substances, and that's currently where marijuana is classified. And then there's your Schedule II controlled substances, which can be obtained and legally possessed with a prescription, but they're considered highly addictive. So, that's where fentanyl falls, for example. And then there is your Schedule III controlled substances, and that's going to be something like an anabolic steroid. Again, they're not considered as dangerous or as addictive, and so the penalties for possessing a Schedule III controlled substance are going to be significantly less than, say, a Schedule I controlled substance.
So it does seem kind of surprising that marijuana has been in this category alongside things like heroin and cocaine all this time. I mean, that seems like it's too high a category. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It's just been that way since the 70s, and Nixon declared the war on drugs, and there wasn't really a whole lot of rhyme or reason why it was considered a controlled a Level 1 controlled substance. And so now the current Attorney General is recommending that the federal government look at this again, review it, and classify it as a Schedule III controlled substance, which I would predict is likely to happen.
So the penalties for these different schedule numbers are, of course, different. So let's just say penalty for intent to distribute, Schedule I versus Schedule III. What's the difference?
Sure. So a conviction for a Schedule I controlled substance carries a maximum possible penalty of 20 years in prison and or a $25,000 fine, versus if you're convicted of possession with intent to distribute of a Schedule II, III, or IV, then you're looking at a maximum penalty of 10 years and a fine of $10,000. So it's twice the possible penalty for the Schedule I versus any other schedule of controlled substance.
That does seem like a huge difference. And right now, you can get that Schedule I penalty for possessing marijuana or heroin. And it sounds like it's soon to become maybe more reasonable, where it's a whole different penalty for just possessing marijuana, right?
Right, and so, we're talking big picture, somebody that's accused of selling heroin versus somebody who's accused of selling marijuana or pain pills. So we're talking like the serious felony charges where you don't just possess it, but you're possessing it maybe and giving it to a friend or selling it to a friend.
Okay, and as we've talked about in other videos and things, once you get convicted of any of these, regardless of whether it's Schedule I, II, or III, you're going to be facing some legal challenges. Can a person just work those out on their own?
Well, generally with drug-related offenses, there's a lot of evidence to look at as far as how did law enforcement decide to charge you with one of those offenses. What was the nature of the contact? Why did they start asking you about whether you had drugs? And a lot of times there's the ability for us to file a motion to suppress the evidence because law enforcement a lot of times gets it wrong when they're trying to investigate you for drugs.
Yeah, so it sounds like, once you're facing something that even at the lower end carries a 10-year potential penalty in jail, you're going to need a legal expert to help you work that out. So how might someone get a hold of you if they're in that situation?
We'll include a link in the description where they can call, text, or chat with a member of my team anytime, day or night. Here at Just Criminal Law, we know you only get one shot at justice, so make yours count.